Hello from me, Lazarus. Welcome to the next lesson on creating a website from scratch. We are working on my second book on creating a website from scratch. We are currently reviewing the chapters of the CSS section that were not included in the free version of the book, and we are now on Chapter 10, New Features and Functionalities in CSS3. We've now reached lesson number 5, the lesson on gradients. Gradients are one of the new features that allow us to create some very beautiful color effects. A gradient is a smooth transition from one color to another, but unlike background images, it cannot have a specific size, and its actual size is the same as the size of the element. There are 3 types of gradients: linear, radial, and conical. You can also create repeating gradients for each of them. We'll go through each one in turn. Here's the first one, a linear gradient. In it, the specified color changes in a straight line. It is implemented using the function linear gradient. To create a linear gradient, we need to define at least 2 colors, which in this case are also called color stops. The syntax is this: by default, if the direction is omitted, the gradient goes from top to bottom. Here is a simple gradient like this. Here it is in the browser to show it. The direction of the linear gradient is specified using keywords. For example, the respective direction is used. A diagonal direction, where both directions are used, like this. Here, and let's see the second example. Here it is. It's especially visible here. With an angle, you can use any unit for given in CSS, but mostly use degrees, deg in English. It also sets a default value from 0 to 360. Keywords correspond to certain angles. Here's an example. Actually, no, I haven't shown it here. The next one I showed, using more colors. We can use more than 2 colors in the gradients. Browsers will space them evenly. Here's from that example that I just showed. Here it is. Determining the positions of the colored stops or the establishment points. If we want to determine for ourselves which color how much of space to fill, then we will need to set specific positions for the color stops. We can do it in pixels, in percentages, with percentages being better. 0% is the starting value, the ending is 100%. Here's an example with percentages. Here it is, different percentages. of the different colors. Let's see, how many more are there? Come on, we'll make it to the end of the lesson. Next is adding some harder transitions or solid lines, if we don't want smooth transitions. Here's one type of gradient. Next, adding hints to the gradient. By default, the gradient flows smoothly from one color to another. We can add a color hint to move the average value of the transition to a specific point in the gradient. Here's an example. Next, we'll create colored line stripes to add such an area inside the gradient without a smooth transition, with 2-point positions of establishment. Here's an example, and the last is setting multiple linear gradients at the same time. As with background images, with CSS3 gradients we can set more. For this purpose, we need to separate the individual functions with a comma. We will not look at an example of this. That's all for this lesson. Best regards.